pace with leaders Brikama United in the ongoing GFF First Division League. And away from home, Ukrainian authorities plan further evacuations from Mariupol on Monday following an initial operation to remove around 100 civilians from the besieged Astral steel plant. Well, these and many other stories coming ahead in the next 40 minutes. I am Fatu Janimbai. Joining us, and we begin this edition of the news with an Islamic feast which comes annually on the first day of Shawwal after a month of fasting from dawn to dusk. In observing this Islamic festival, Muslims in the Gambia join the rest of the world to observe Eid al-Fitr, locally called Korite. In Banjul, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Adama Barrow, was among hundreds of people that converged at the King Fahad Mosque complex for the Eid prayers, led by the Imam Ratib of Banjul, His Eminence Al-Haji Cherno Aliu Maskar. Mamadou Jallo tells us more.
As the Gambia joins the rest of the world to celebrate the end of the holy month of Ramadan, Banjulians gathered at the King Fahad Mosque complex for the Eid prayers. Eid al-Fitr is one rare moment that brings the nation's capital together, old and young men and women, for this special occasion. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, attended the Eid prayers in the presence of ministers, senior government officials, security service chiefs, and religious leaders. Imam Ratib of Banjul, Al-Haji Cherno Ali Maska, led the 2 rakat prayer. He later delivered the religious sermon in which he praised Allah for this unique opportunity, which enabled Muslims and the nation complete this important religious undertaking. He reminded the faithful of their duty to the Lord, urging them to shun this worldly life and strive for the hereafter. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, used the occasion to wish Gambians a joyous Eid, whilst equally praying for peace in the Gambia.
We have fasted for 30 days. I think that is a blessing for everybody. We are very, very happy. We are praying for everybody. And we want everybody to pray for this country. We don't have any other country in the Gambia that we have. So I think we should all pray for this country. We should all continue to maintain peace and stability in this country.
The President later left the King Fahad Mosque complex for the State House, where he received the committee of Banjul Muslim elders and heads of other religious denominations in the country. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS News.
Well, meanwhile, the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, has received the committee of Banjul Muslim elders and other Islamic scholars in what has become a yearly forum, which is as old as Banjul itself. The forum provides a platform for discussions on issues affecting the lives and welfare of the people of the capital city. And as we hear in this report again by Mamadou Jallo, President Barrow also used the occasion to warn that it would not be business as usual for civil servants and government officials who are not prepared to deliver.
Every other Korite celebration, the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, receives the committee of Banjul Muslim elders for a dialogue on issues affecting the community of Banjul. This year, several Muslim religious denominations were invited to take part in this important event, which traces its roots to the colonial period, with locals renew their loyalty and allegiance to the colonial authorities. Much has changed since then, but the format remains the same, with Banjulians taking turns to seek government's intervention to improve their lot. The chairman of the committee, Al-Haji Dudu Omar Tal, first thanked President Barrow for receiving the elders and listening to their concerns, one of which include the construction and potential relocation of the Muslim High School. Founded by the Muslim community in Banjul, the school has come to symbolize the struggle of Banjulians to retain their religious identity. Mr. Fall revealed that after careful consultations and engagements with the authorities, a new classroom block will be built at the King Fahad Mosque complex. Therefore, he appealed to the President to do the community the honor of laying the foundation stone at the complex. The chairman of the event expressed concern with the state of ferry services at the Banjul terminal, the rising prices of basic commodities, the erratic electricity supply in the capital city, and what he called the proliferation of derelict vehicles along major highways, urging the president to take urgent measures to tackle these problems. The president of the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council, Alhaji Issa Dabo, described the end of Ramadan as a major blessing for the Muslim community, despite the challenges associated with it. He commended all the philanthropists that extended support to needy Muslims, singling out the Abu Bakr Jawara Foundation and the Vision Development Foundation of Modutro Dabo, who had been consistently helping people during this period. The Gambia Supreme Islamic Council president also enjoined imams and religious leaders to always use their platforms to preach peace and religious tolerance, adding that no imam should use their religious pulpits to attack the president or his personality. Such acts are frowned upon by the Islamic religion, said Dabo concluded. Imam Haiba Haidara re-echoed this view, saying as imams, they should stop all personal attacks amongst themselves, as it is unhealthy for the religion and the nation, urging Muslims to foster dialogue and tolerance. Imam Salim Savage of the Aku community praised the president and his government for the development initiatives that have transformed Banjul into a modern city, whilst also praying for peace and stability in the Gambia. In response to the issues raised by the elders of Banjul, President Barrow revealed that his government is taking robust steps to address the concerns of the people. He revealed that the National Water and Electricity Company is now working to synchronize its sources of power, as it has the capacity to meet the energy needs of consumers. And now it has given me a one-week timeline to complete this process, President Barrow disclosed, saying it will effectively address the erratic power supply within Banjul. A similarly ambitious initiative has also been devised to address the problems at the ferry services, the president said, revealing that a $54 million investment from a private company will soon take over operations of the ferry services, aimed at enhancing efficiency and better service delivery. On the issue of the rising prices of basic commodities, President Barrow insisted that the situation is beyond the control of his government, blaming the COVID-19 pandemic and the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine conflict as the main causes of these price hikes. He therefore urged Gambians to tighten their belts and work harder to surmount these challenges, warning that the Gambia cannot depend on external factors to overcome its problems. The president therefore warned that the next 5 years will be different as far as his approach to governance is concerned. He added that there will be zero tolerance to absenteeism and inefficiency in the civil service. A separate ministry will be established to strictly enforce discipline and professionalism. President Barrow also lashed out at his critics, accusing them of sowing discord and division to destabilize the country. He warned that government will not stand idly by as some elements take advantage of the democratic space to subvert authority, warning that such actions are counterproductive and doomed to fail. He finally thanked the imams and the people of Banjul for the support and goodwill, saying that his government is working to fill all the drains in Banjul and fix the sewage system by installing new machines. This and other developments, the president said, will continue to transform Banjul into a clean city that would be the envy of the sub-region. Maudou Jallo, GRTS News.
And now, well, still on Eid al-Fitr messages, here is a message from the Amir of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of the Gambia, and it reads, Amir Baba F. Trawala extends all the warmest salam, love, prayers, and message of Eid Mubarak from Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, the spiritual and supreme head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, Hazrat Misra Mashur Ahmad. On behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of the Gambia, Amir Baba F. Trawale humbly wishes every Muslim a blessed Eid while praying for Allah Almighty to accept and reward all the humble devotions, prayers, and sacrifices that we have made during the holy month of Ramadan. Amir Trawale further pray for Allah to protect and bless our beloved and dear motherland, the Gambia, and her people by endlessly blessing us with peace, security, prosperity, and stability on the entire population. The message ends. And now moving on, Trans-Gambia Bridge, situated at the former Yeli Tenda, Bamba Tenda crossing points, which connects lower and north bank regions of the Gambia. The construction of the bridge was a commitment by the government of the Gambia to address the needs of the Gambian people, among which includes cross-border trade, including the free movement of people and goods as enshrined in the ECOWAS protocol and other international documents signed by the Republic of the Gambia. Sequel to this important milestone, GRTS examined the impact of Senegambia Bridge along the Trans-Gambia Road Corridor, which is an economic and strategic link connecting the northern and southern parts of the Gambia and Senegal, and by extension, ECOWAS countries through the corridor between Dakar and Lagos. Usman Balde reports from Mansa Konko in the Lower River region.
Kilometers and Gambia Bridge near Soma and Farafenye links the southern and northern part of the Gambia, as well as allowing people from the north of Senegal to reach the southern Senegalese province of Casamance with comfort. Before the establishment of this bridge, people were using ferries to cross or take the long way around the Gambia. Lorry drivers could spend days and sometimes weeks in a queue waiting to cross over with their goods. The regional governor for Lower River Region, Rohi John Manjang, said the construction of the bridge has brought a lot of success for the sub-region, saying the bridge has now cemented the already bilateral ties between the Gambia and Senegal. It is now possible to travel from Dakar to Ziguinchor in Casamance in about 5 hours.
It used to be a difficult nightmare, even though the ferry service was very efficient in terms of the availability. But the demand was too much, it was higher. So that being the case, it was not possible for everybody to be served accordingly and efficiently. So there was some delay. There people would spend a whole day, some 2, some even a week, when the demand is much higher. When it's come to feast. But for now, the coming of the bridge has changed that entire story. And the positive aspect of it, it has boosted the socio-economic life of people.
Here used to be a busy business center before the construction of the bridge, but at the moment, trade is very low since the launch of the bridge, according to vendors. But the regional governor is quick to outline government efforts in addressing the challenges faced by market vendors.
Business will still continue on the same trail. So you can see that Jara Soma's business has boosted. The demand is much higher because when they cross, some of them would want to stop over to either have a lunch or buy few items before they continue their journey. So yet still the business environment has changed and it has boosted another environment. It's just for us to redesign our position. So that is why we have the market very strategically located at the highway before going to Seneba. And very soon, 1st May 2022, we're expecting to do our final allocation and for the market to start. The consideration has been given to those that have been affected. Almost all of them who are in active business and are available have been given the opportunity to start a new life, business life, and of course, shifting their business line to another area where the demand is much higher.
Speaking to various people on the importance of the bridge, majority describe it as a milestone for Africa, especially Gambia and Senegal, while drivers stress the need for the rehabilitation of the road linking to the bridge.
Baana trop léegi ma wax dëgg yàlla baana trop xanaa lu des kee moo ñu defaral ñu yoon bi comme pax yi nekk si yoon bi nii loolu rek moo nekk suñ problème waaye léegi liggéey fi mu toll léegi ñu dañ ci sant yàlla bu baax a baax dafa mel ni ñun lañ ko defal waaw dafa mel ni ñun lañ defal loolu.
waaye nag sant yàlla ndax nit ñi dañ fi daa sonn dañ fi daj lu ne te léegi wax dëgg yàlla jafe-jafe yëpp wàññi ko na moom ñun ñoo fi des di dàq suñu wërsëg rek xam nga doomu aadama fu mu miin rek foofa rek la xam loolu mooy affaire bi.
The construction of the Senegambia Bridge is one of the fulfillment of the country's leadership to address the needs of the Gambian people, such as cross-border issues, travel time, boost trade, and strengthening unity among remote communities. Usman Balde, GRTS News.
And now, climate change is the leading world social, political, and economic hot topic whose inactions continue to cause havoc in societies. Loss of biodiversity, including wildlife species, are empirical evidence to the impact of climate change at the Abuko Nature Reserve. The nature reserve, which was initiated in 1968 under the stewardship of an environmental officer, Eddie Brewer, who saw the importance of conserving the flora and fauna in the area. Now, during GRTS's visit to the famous reserve, officials of the Department of Parks and Wildlife cited so many factors hampering functionalities of the center. Well, Usman Mane has the rest of that in this report.
Continues to leave its mark on communities including forest and wildlife nature reserve ecosystems. The impact is visible as we assess the biodiversity of the Abuko Nature Reserve. Driving through the nature reserve, there is limited animals in the wild, unlike the heydays of the park when students and tourists visit the Center for Attraction and Education. Amadou Sonko is the manager of the orphanage where animals that are confiscated are kept for rehabilitation. He told us the last lion in the park died a natural death.
Now we're left with only hyenas, baboons, and then the few patas monkeys. Though we have other monkeys like western red colobus monkeys and then western red colobus monkeys and then calatrix monkeys in the wild. They are a lot here, they're abundant here. But at animal orphanage here, we're left with only a few, like 12, 13 hyenas, and then 4 baboons, and then 6 red patas monkeys. And then these red patas monkeys are confiscated from people, like people kept them as pet, which is against the rules and laws of the Gambia. So anywhere we came across them, like we do go there, we have a team here. That team will go there and then confiscate them and bring them here. So we keep them here for a rehabilitation purpose, mostly 1 year, 6 months, then we free them in the wild.
Abuko Nature Reserve is initiated in 1968, first managed by Eddie Brewer, who saw the importance of conserving the flora and fauna in the area. The Nature Reserve is now under the management of the Department of Parks and Wildlife, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. Kausu Jamme is the focal person on biodiversity at the department.
And because of climate change, it has a lot of impact on biodiversity, on ecosystem and other kind of biodiversities, like species, for example, wetlands, like gallery forests. Abuko Nature Reserve happened to be in one of the most densely populated areas in the country. And being in that kind of location and also connected to the coastline, the marine and coastal ecosystem, it is very vulnerable.
The dwindling nature of the reserve has created less attraction for people as needed resources to bring back the glory days of the ecosystem. However, Kausu explains what is available under their watch.
And we have colobus monkey, we have duikers, we have antelopes, we have many kind of small ruminants. We also have other kind of monkeys like vivet monkey. So, and we have a lot of insects, all are counted as biodiversity. We also have a lot of forest birds, which are the things that we are managing right now, and the ecosystem, the forests that inhabit them are the ones we are managing right now. If you look at the forest, we still have more than 150 types of trees in Abuko Nature Reserve, which shows a real diversity.
The last lion at the natural park died naturally, and the chimpanzees relocated to River Gambia National Park, and some baboons taken to Badibun National Park, as narrated by Amadou. Urbanization is taking its toll on Abuko Nature Reserve as people move beyond their boundaries, thus promoting the extinction of animal species in the reserve.
The park is surrounded by 5 communities, and then it's in the heart of the city. And then all those communities, they have their eye in the park because there are natural resources here, like food, firewood, and stuff like that. And also we are encountering illegal dumping, because we have many dump sites in the park, which is very bad for the park, because sometimes it even causes bushfire. And then we also have like more than 5, 6 football fields which have been created here illegally. And then it has affected us a lot. Abuko Nature Reserve actually is faced with a lot of problems. These problems have something to do with institutional capacity also. We are paramilitary, but we don't have guns. We are not trained to look like paramilitary. If we are trained to look like paramilitary, we could have prevented youths from using, the park, cutting trees and clearing areas for football. We could have stopped this dumping that is going on around and every year resulting to burning of the park.
Modlamin Kamara and Edward Williams are residents living nearby the nature reserve.
People used to come and dump here, and which is not right because of our health. So people are suffering here. So the government need to help us for them to come and take care of this.
Sometimes they go up to maybe 4 or 5 compounds ahead, cutting mangoes or anything they can eat. Some people can stone them, the community, and they can kill them. Next minute their number will depreciate.
Commenting on the need to preserve and judiciously use our natural resources, Jammeh had this to say.
Having business with Chinese is not our problem, but catching schooling fish, juvenile fish, is our problem. And we will say this. And we have to tell the decision makers to know that our future is uncertain in terms of fisheries, because we will have no fish in 10 years if the trend that we are in now continues.
He further went on to call on government, partners, and the public to take up the responsibility in managing our environment. Usman Mane, GRTS.
Well, we now move on to the northern part of the Central River region, where livestock owners in the community of Shanghai Toro appealed for reliable drinking points to sustainably maintain livestock production as their major livelihood opportunity. GRTS's Ibrahim Abba visited this nomadic community and he filed in this report.
Toro is predominantly a nomadic community with crop production as an alternative during the rainy season. Transhumance, which is now practiced by majority of livestock producers in the Gambia, is not widely adopted by the villagers. This explains why farmers are doing everything they can to protect and preserve the environment for animals to continuously graze all available livestock feed. Suleiman Wan, who spoke on behalf of livestock producers of Shanghai Toro, explained why they had to do their utmost in conserving the environment to continue producing livestock.
These livestock are very important. They contribute in the socio-economic growth of the country. They help in soil fertility.
Water remains crucial in rearing livestock, but its inadequacy, Mr. Wan went further, is threatening the existence of the remaining stock with wells as deep as 55 meters used to draw water for animals.
Water is the main concern of this community. The deepness of our well is 55 meters. And almost in this community, almost every compound have a flock of cattle, about 25 or 50 cattle. Others have more than that. So we don't have any other source of water apart from this well.
Meanwhile, it is the fervent belief by many in this farming community that when water is in abundant supply, the shortage of animals ready for local markets will greatly be reduced.
Well, this community of Shanghai Toro village in Samet district of the Central River region North has a vast area of land that is suitable for agricultural production and also the production of livestock. But the existence of livestock here is threatened by the insufficient amount of water that is recorded year by year. And the community is calling on the government and other philanthropists so that they are able to come up with plans to help them out remedy the situation of water shortages for their animals, and then they continue producing livestock as far as their lives and livelihoods are concerned. For GRTS News, this is Ibrahim Bah reporting.
Well, meanwhile, livestock owners in urban Gambia have also outlined devastating challenges affecting the management of their livestock. And as Usman Mane reports, graze lands, inadequate drinking points, and encroachment of cattle tracking zones remain their major challenges.
Alias Dibi Brufut, a 60-year-old man, is one of the livestock owners in the Greater Banjul area who is contributing to agricultural production and productivity. However, environmental effects and climate variability is causing a huge impact on livestock production. Jibril tells us what they are currently experiencing.
We have
been in this profession for so long, but the challenges include water shortage, space for grazing and keeping our animals, and also medications.
Seasonal changes and human activities is a major factor hampering the industry. The President, National Livestock Owners Association, Ibrahim Jallo, explains what are some of the causes of transhumance.
Years ago, there are a lot of grasses, a lot of water around, animal can feed. But because of this climate change now, then we are not having all of this. There's no water around in the forest. There's no proper grasses. People are burning it. If we don't have proper water or we don't have proper rain in the country, and again people are burning people are using bushfire to clear their farms in a very bad way, definitely these are things that are disturbing livestock farmers in this country. And this is also making them to migrate from one country to another. And in the other part of the Gambia, that's the North Bank, people are coming from Senegal. That is during the dry season. We call them the Nurenawe because there are not enough grasses in Senegal. They also try to cross to the Gambia because they believe Gambia is better. Why during the rainy season we go outside? The transhuman is affecting both sides, and this is all because of climate change.
Land management is one of the causes of the current quagmire facing the livestock subsector.
There should be a proper land policy in this country so that the other part of the Gambia, talking about other region different from West Coast and KM and the greater Banjul area, people will able to manage their land properly. But the community are managing the land the way they are using. And then the way they use it, either you do farming or you sell it. And then at the end of the day, the animals owners will not have a place to be. Meaning that animal owners will one day move from the Gambia and go outside the Gambia. And Gambian people will need animal and they cannot get it.
Changai Toro is in the Central River region and a nomadic community who are relying on agricultural production, including livestock. They are also facing water shortage. The Agriculture Ministry and partners are working to address some of the challenges faced by actors in the subsector, which would resolve conflict between herdmen and crop farmers.
So in order also to meet the demand of the Gambian people, meaning also the Ministry of Agriculture, they are also doing something, but they need to readjust themselves equally like they are doing in the other sectors to improve the production of livestock. Though they are doing, but then we have in this year 20 boreholes that can also try to fill the gap.
Environmental effects and climate change top the list as factors causing underdevelopment. Our forest cover continues to attract human activities due to economic benefits, which is, however, damaging our ecosystem. Effective implementation of environmental laws and formulation of policies to judiciously use the natural resources, a question which still remains to be answered. Usman Mane, GRTS.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we return, we'll take a look at some sports news. To stay with us. Welcome back to GRTS News. Now, Real de Banjul have registered a narrow 1-0 win over rivals Walidan in the Banjul Derby to maintain pace with leaders Brikama United in the ongoing Gambia Football Federation's First Division League. Farmer Abaji witnessed that encounter, and he now brings us up to date.
This tie is one of the biggest games of the GFF First Division League. Whenever Walidan and Royal de Banjul face off, it attracts lots of spectators. The performance of the two teams was as impressive as the turnout. It was difficult to judge between the two who was better in terms of possessing. Whenever Real control, they possessed in a way that left the spectators wow. And when Walidan wins the ball, you see a completely similar fascinating football. The attention of both teams was focused on trying to dominate the possession for the larger part of the first half. Aside from this Real's attack, which saw their appeal for a penalty turned down by the referee, not many goal-mouth activities were seen. The dynamics changed in the second period when Walidan launched a quick attack and had their attempt saved well by the Real de Banjul goalkeeper. On the opposing end, Real also came close and missed a close-range opportunity. Walidan then thought they found a breakthrough goal, only for it to be ruled offside by the first assistant referee. And Real's coach Bayamale Wada then handed his new signing as his coach Nyandi, former Gambia international, his debut to help improve his team's urgency. But Walidan continued to threaten as they hit on a counter-attack in the closing stages, and Abdullah Mani missed what really should have been a breakthrough goal. He was made to pay in the stoppage time when Real were awarded a penalty, a decision much to the dismay of the Walidan players. and Jallo converted to Unreal a vital 1-0 lead.
The goal was set at the beginning of the season, and it's still the goal, and we will work towards winning that. And in order to do that, you have to win games. And the idea is, win 3 in a trot, 4 games in a trot. This is a start. It's a good start. It's a tough team and a big rivalry. It's a derby. So, and for me, it's always a pleasure to win. I mean, I never support Walidan throughout my life. Even though I played for them in the Champions League, I'm always happy when they lose. So beating them is something I really feel good about because it's something from childhood.
Central referee Lamin Jammeh will no doubt be the subject of discussion at the Walidan camp for his decisions. For Real, they rejoiced as they kept pace with leaders Brikama United in the summit. Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
Well, time now to take our second break. When we return, we'll take a look at news beyond our shores. To stay with us. Welcome back. And Ukrainian authorities are planning further evacuations over Mariupol on Monday following an initial operation to remove around 100 civilians from the besieged Azovstal steel plant. Meanwhile, in Brussels, EU energy ministers are holding emergency talks as the bloc considers a phasing out of Russian oil imports. France 24 has more.
Steel factory. This area of the city of Mariupol has been the target of a Russian siege for weeks. Several hundred Ukrainian soldiers and civilians have been sheltering in tunnels underneath the plant as Vladimir Putin's forces advance. On Saturday, the Azov battalion, which is defending the site, claimed a pre-agreed ceasefire had held.
We transferred 20 civilians rescued from the rubble to the agreed location. These are women and children. We hope that these people will go in the agreed direction, namely to the city of Zaporizhia, to territory controlled by Ukraine.
The Azov regiment, which is known for having links to the far right, says it had been clearing the debris of overnight shelling by Russia to rescue trapped civilians. However, Russian forces accuse Ukrainian soldiers of holding civilians hostage at the plant. In Kiev, relatives of the fighters holed up in the steelworks rallied on Saturday, calling for the evacuation of their loved ones.
My father, my husband and his brother, my sister's husband, are in Mariupol. They're from the Azov regiment. They're in Azovstal. They're blocked there. I know their food is running out. They don't have medicine. They're injured.
Volodymyr Zelensky warned it would spell the end of peace talks if Mariupol's defending troops were killed.
And elsewhere, civilians in Andreyska, a village about 60 kilometers west of Kiev, are coming to terms with the devastation and trauma they suffered during the month they spent on the Russian occupation. France 24 again.
Andreyevka has several fresh graves. Residents who were at first buried in their yards by their neighbors have since been moved here.
They were killed on the 12th of March, and on the 14th we buried them 1 meter deep. They tied their hands behind their backs, put them on their knees, and shot them in the head. The face was blown off.
Locals say the Russians expected to be welcomed as liberators and turned murderous when they weren't.
At the beginning, their policy was not to touch civilians, but then they saw how all the civilians were against them. So they started to consider us all as enemies.
Andriy is here to tend to his family's graves, as is traditional after Easter in Ukraine. He takes a break to give us a tour of the village.
Оце вся територія колгоспа, тут вони ховалися.
Там замініровано, там міни були. Там з міномета стріляли по хатам.
Yana has had to learn that she can no longer play where she used to. But the family consider themselves lucky. They got out after 1 week under shelling and returned to find their house looted but intact.
Shrapnel hit here. Luckily, the house didn't burn down. It's a wooden house. So the risk of fire was real. Thank God it didn't happen.
Just up the road,
Everything's burnt. There's nothing left. My daughter is 300 kilometers away right now. She keeps telling me, "Mum, bring me home," and where am I supposed to bring her?
Tatiana was here throughout the occupation, sheltering first in her cellar, then at a neighbor's. She says the Russian troops were often drunk, angry, and out of control.
There were several cases of rape and wanton violence. One Russian said to me, "Your village is rich. You've got foreign cars and household appliances. We don't. Who authorized you to live well?"
A few doors up, Serhiy is removing building equipment from his unfinished house. Russian soldiers squatted it.
It's unpleasant. I don't want to move in anymore. I don't even want to finish the work.
I ask Serhiy why some men survived while others were killed.
They were mostly looking for veterans of the Ukrainian army's Donbas operations.
Only afterwards does Serhiy tell me he is himself a Donbass veteran. He was just lucky they didn't find him.
Well, from that report there from Ukraine, that brings us to the end of this edition of the news. A quick reminder of our top stories once again before we end this edition of the news. Now, after a month of fasting from dawn to dusk, Muslims in the Gambia have joined the rest of the world to observe Eid al-Fitr, locally known as Korite. Now, GRTS have been examining the impact of Senegambia Bridge along the Trans-Gambia corridor connecting the northern and southern parts of Gambia and Senegal. Plus, GRTS's Climate Watch program looked at the current state of the famous Abuka Nature Reserve through an environmental lens. And in sports, Real de Banjul have registered a narrow 1-0 win over rivals Walidan in the Banjul Derby to maintain pace with leaders Brikama United in the ongoing GFF First Division League. And away from home, Ukrainian authorities are planning to further evacuations from Mariupol on Monday, following an initial operation to remove around 100 civilians from the besieged Azovstal steel plant. That's it from me, Fatu Janibai, from the entire news team. Many thanks for watching and Eid Mubarak.